Autopen 24 is a semi-automatic insulin pen designed exclusively for use with Sanofi Aventis insulins and is manufactured by Owen Mumford Limited. The stylish, lightweight design makes it easy to use, and the side trigger mechanism makes it particularly suitable for children, the elderly, and people with dexterity problems. Using the Autopen 24 is easy and works in 2 basic steps. Simply dial the dose required, then gently push the release button to deliver it. Autopen 24 is available in a 1-unit and a 2-unit version for convenience. The pack comes complete with the pen, a soft pouch, an instruction leaflet, a release button extension, a dose selector adapter for small hands and the elderly, and 3 silicone lubricated pen needles. In order to help you identify each part of your Autopen 24, let's see each part individually. Dose selector, pen body, release button, internal plunger, cartridge, cartridge holder, pen needle and protective caps, pen cap, release button extension, dose selector adapter. Before you start using your Autopen 24, ensure you are using the correct unit pen to allow you to deliver your correct dose. The 1-unit pen can deliver up to 21 insulin units in increments of 1 in a single dose. The 2-unit pen can deliver up to 42 insulin units in increments of 2 in a single dose. The 1-unit pen is green and has a single raised dot you can feel with your finger on the top of the dose selector to help identify the pen for the visually impaired. The 2-unit pen is blue and has 2 raised dots on the top of the dose selector to help identification. Before going into the in-depth step-by-step instructions, it may be useful to have an overview of how to use the pen. We will show you loading the cartridge, priming the pen, selecting and injecting your dose, removing the needle, and changing your cartridge. Before you can use your Autopen 24, you will need to load a cartridge. Pull off the pen cap and unscrew the pen body from the cartridge holder. Check to ensure that the internal plunger is fully retracted. If the internal plunger is not fully retracted, rewind the internal plunger by holding the grey lower part of the pen body with your thumb and finger. Turn the body until the internal plunger is fully retracted. Load the insulin cartridge into the cartridge holder, ensuring the metal cap goes in first. When the insulin cartridge is in place, you can screw the cartridge holder and pen body firmly together. You are now ready to prime your Autopen 24. Using a new pen needle, peel off the protective film and screw the needle straight onto the cartridge holder. Or push the needle straight onto the cartridge holder. Autopen 24 is compatible with all pen needles. Remove the outer protective cap and inner needle cap from the pen needle. It is important to prime the Autopen 24 before use to remove any air inside the needle. If you are using a new cartridge, dial 8 units on the dose selector. Hold the Autopen 24 with the pen needle pointing up. Push and hold the release button towards the needle until the arrow on the pen body points to the start line on the dose selector. To ensure the system is working correctly, now dial a safety shot of 2 units and release by pushing the release button towards the pen needle. Repeat until a drop of insulin appears at the needle tip. When using an existing cartridge, you do not need to dial 8 units, but simply dial and release 2 units of insulin until a drop appears on the tip of the pen needle. If there are any air bubbles visible in the insulin cartridge, before priming, tap the cartridge housing until the air bubbles rise to the top, and then prime the pen with 2 units, as already described. Your Autopen 24 is now ready for use. Make sure the arrow on the pen body points to the start line on the dose selector. Dial up the number of units required. When dialing, you will hear an audible clicking, allowing you to count how many units are being dialed. This is especially useful for the partially sighted. If at any time you overdial, you should always make sure the dose is fully expelled, then redial the required amount. Never attempt to dial back the dose selector, as this could result in damage to your Autopen 24 and inaccurate dosing. Before injecting, make sure the arrow on the pen body points to the correct number of units on the dose selector. Insert the needle using the injection technique recommended by your healthcare professional. Push the release button towards the pen needle and hold it in place until the start line on the dose selector returns to the arrow on the pen body. This shows the full dose has been delivered. Count to 10 before removing the needle from the skin. You have now successfully delivered your dose. Carefully reattach the white outer protective needle cap back over the needle hub and unscrew the pen needle. Replace the pen cap onto the Autopen 24. It is important you always check that your pen needle has been removed. Dispose of the pen needle as advised by your healthcare professional. When the cartridge is empty, you'll need to remove it. Autopen 24 has been designed to allow you to dial a dose higher than the insulin remaining in the pen, to ensure there is no waste of insulin. This means that the cartridge will often finish during a dose. So make a note of this number. Remove the needle. Unscrew the cartridge holder from the pen body and remove the cartridge. Rewind the internal plunger by holding the grey lower part of the pen body between the thumb and finger. Turn the pen body until the internal plunger is fully retracted. Push and hold the release button until the line on the dose selector returns to the arrow on the pen body. Then rewind the plunger again until fully retracted. Load the next cartridge as has already been shown, and remembering to prime the pen first, inject the remaining number of insulin units that you noted earlier. Using Autopen 24 is simple and easy. Choose your pen, load a cartridge and attach a needle. Prime. Select a dose. Inject your dose using the side trigger, leaving the needle in your skin for 10 seconds. Remove and dispose of the needle. Recap the pen. Autopen 24 should be stored or carried with the needle removed and the pen cap on. Remember to follow the manufacturer's instructions and store your insulin at the temperature recommended on their instructions. Autopen 24 can be stored in a refrigerator since it does not contain electronic parts. Your Autopen 24 package is supplied with an instruction leaflet, and we recommend you read this thoroughly before using your Autopen 24, paying particular attention to the safety precautions. However, the main things of which to be aware of are: only use Autopen 24 with Sanofi Aventis insulins. Always prime your pen before use. Always use a new needle with each injection. Only use Autopen 24 with the agreement of your healthcare provider. Why is priming important? If you do not prime, you may get an incorrect amount of insulin in your dose. Priming helps to ensure that the pen and needle are working properly as a system and helps remove dosing errors. Occasionally, when priming, the start line on the dose selector will not return to the arrow on the pen body, and no insulin will be expelled. This may indicate one of two possibilities. Firstly, The pen needle that you are using could be blocked. If so, remove the pen needle currently attached to the pen and replace with a new one. Then prime the pen again. Secondly, the cartridge bung may require releasing. If so, replace the outer protective cap onto the needle. Unscrew the cartridge housing. Hold down the release button towards the internal plunger until the starting line on the dose selector returns to the arrow on the body. Dial up 8 units on the dose selector without screwing the Autopen 24 back together. Push and hold down the release button towards the internal plunger until the starting line on the dose selector returns to the arrow on the body. The plunger will be sticking out slightly. Without rewinding the internal plunger, screw the cartridge holder and body firmly together. This will release the cartridge bung and as a result expel some of the insulin. However, the Autopen 24 will not be primed, and you will need to prime your Autopen 24 before use. What should you do if you have an air bubble in the cartridge? Priming your pen will remove air bubbles. Point the pen up and tap the cartridge gently with your finger so any air bubbles can collect near the top. Repeat the priming steps until insulin appears at the tip. If you accidentally select too much insulin on the dose selector, can the pen be dialed back to the correct dosage? No. Never attempt to dial back the dose selector, as doing so may damage the Autopen 24 and result in inaccurate dosing. If at any time the dose has been overdialed, expel the dose fully and redial the correct amount. The dose selector stopped before reaching the starting line. Why? This indicates that the full dose has not been delivered. The number the arrow points to will show how many units are left to inject. The cartridge will then need to be changed and primed as per instructions. Once primed, the amount shown on the dose selector at the end of the last injection will need to be dialed and injected to complete your full dose. How will you know that the full dose has been delivered? The arrow on the pen body will always point to the start line on the dose selector at the end of any complete injection. Why is insulin leaking from the end of the needle after the dose has been finished? You may have removed the needle from your skin too quickly. Remember to slowly count to 10 before removing the needle from your skin. Why can't the internal plunger go back inside the pen? Ensure that you are holding the pen between the thumb and forefinger on the flat areas of the grey collar and not the black bar. Then turn the pen body clockwise until the plunger is fully retracted. How long does an Autopen last? Autopen comes with a 2-year warranty against manufacturing defects. If you are unsure about any information supplied, you should contact your healthcare professional. Autopen and Owen Mumford, making a world of difference.